Hey guys, welcome back to the painting tutorials. My name's Tiffany, I'm the artist behind it all, and today I want to show you how to block in a rocky seascape at sunset. So grab your paintbrush and let's go paint.
Before I start painting on anything, whether it is canvas, board, or even the paper in my sketchbook, I always throw a couple coats of Liquitex gesso down first. If you would like to see all of the colors that I'm using and the brushes, I'm going to have those in the description below. One of the things I love about oils the most is when you realize something isn't working, it's so easy just to wipe them off. I realized after laying down these colors, they were just too dark. They weren't what I was going for to create the feeling that I wanted. So I lightened up all the colors and then they started working out the way I wanted them to. I know that I want my sun to be the brightest part. So I wanted to make sure I got that in first because I want that to be my focal point. And I'm just taking the same colors that I used in the sky and I'm placing them down in the ocean to make a reflection. And I'm just trying to get all of my midtones down so there isn't a bright white canvas that I'm working on. It's hard to tell the values of the colors that you're working with when you're working up against a white background. I normally tone my canvases, but for some reason I just didn't do it with this one, and I don't know why. The one thing to keep in mind, if you notice in the rocks, the farthest one away has a lot more white and gray mixed into them, and to create that all I used was raw umber, French ultramarine blue, and white. And I want that because the more saturated it is, the further away you're going to make it look. And all that means is more white and less color. The more color that it has creates the illusion that it's closer to the viewer. Like this rock here in the foreground where I've already placed the shadows, these shadows are almost straight burnt umber. They don't have white in them at all to desaturate them. Even with the shadows on these distant cliffs, they're still not the darkest you can get them. You still want to add quite a bit of white to get them. You want them darker than the highlights to show the viewer that these are still shadows, but because they're pushed back into the distance, you don't want to put black there. Save the black for the foreground. If you noticed, I bounce around a lot throughout my paintings, and I do this mostly because I feel that it helps with color harmony or color balance throughout the painting. We'll go into a lot more depth about color harmony or color balance in another episode really soon. So if you don't want to miss that, make sure to hit the subscribe button and the bell so you get notified when I upload that. I'm spending more time on this rock here in front than I did in the previous rocks in the distance because I want this one to seem closer to the viewer, which means it has to have more detail. In the next episode, where I'm going to go in with smaller detailed liner brushes and I'm going to define these rocks, this area down at the bottom, I'm going to define it a lot more and bring it a lot closer to the viewer by adding brighter greens, darker shadows, a little bit more detail on the rocks, and that will draw it closer to the viewer. So I'll show you how to do that as well. And that video will pop up next Thursday. So I've darkened up these plants that are going on this rock because they're going to be on the back side. But this rock that's going to be closer, I'm going to add a lot more color to it a little bit later. We can't forget the intensity and direction of our light source. Shadows play a huge part in convincing the viewer that there's actually an object there and how big it is.
So there you have it. I hope you learned a lot. If you liked this video, make sure to hit that like button, share it with your friends, and if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and make sure to hit the bell so you get notified every single time I upload a new video. Guys, have a wonderful day. See you in the next video.